Hello, Paul Pounds. Something a bit different from books today. So, growing up in the late 70s, early 80s, there wasn't a lot of horror things a young horror fan could buy. Everything was Star Wars and sci-fi. That was the big thing. And as much as a younger TV viewer, I adored seeing Gil Gerard and Dirk Benedict engaging in rugged space adventures. I still loved horror. And there's one horror thing that's fascinated me for years. Well, there's two in the set. Basically, it's these bad boys. Yeah. Now, these were produced originally in Germany by a company called Dubrek, who are most famous for creating this piece of audio monstrosity. I am a big fan of stylophones, and I've got a few. Anything that sounds as ugly as that, you just can't make it sound pleasant, whatever you do with it. And they're still doing cool stylophone stuff. Is it the GX1 that's got all sorts of modulators and stuff on it? That's just genius. So they produced this set of... they produced two sets of horror top trumps. This is the first set I'm going to look at. This is known as the Dracula set, for obvious reasons, utilising the, I think, the typeface from Halls of Horror magazine there, pretty much. And it was reprinted in the UK by Waddingtons. And as a playground fad in that era, top trumps were just awesome. But these were different because most top trumps were photographs of tanks, sports cars, warplanes, yachts, all sorts of stuff like that. But these were illustrated, and they were badly illustrated. No, that's not fair. They weren't badly illustrated. They epitomise that kind of really rough, brutal 70s art style that I am so fond of, and you could never get away with producing anything with that style as an integral part of it nowadays, because people would just look at it and go, that's not good enough quality. One thing that staggers me, and has always just baffled me, is how they could infringe on so many copyrighted things. They're either just crazy imaginary drawings or just lifted from films and TV directly without really changing much. So let's crack on and let's have a little look. I'm going to flick through my pack here and put them up there so you can see them a bit bigger rather than me hold them up to the camera. We'll just start... Oh, that's the rules on how to play. We'll just start with the back. That's a very cool bat. All the backs are the same. So first up, we've got Vampire Bat, which is just a bad drawing of a vampire bat. Top work, guys. Same with the Sorceress. She's... yeah. Can't quite tell what's going on there. But she's green and cross, which is kind of what you want. So next up is the Mad Magician, which is the first copyright infringement we've got going on out of many. That's Lon Chaney from... Is it from London After Midnight, the famous Lost film? Maybe because it's lost, they thought they could get away with it. Circus of Death. Nothing to do with the Human League song. It's a clown who appears to be in a mountain range, gouging his own chest a little bit with a massive bulbous Tefal type Swede. Works for me. The Ghoul. Right. So I recognise this guy. I know I've seen this film. There is a couple that I recognise that I just cannot place. So this dude's from a 50s type B movie, and I honestly can't remember which one. The Risen Dead. I always like the Risen Dead one with his. He looks a bit like Jeff Tips from League of Gentlemen, but obviously decomposed. But we can make out on his gravestone. He's Derek Polunctis, possibly? But it doesn't actually say RIP on his gravestone. It's either HIP or NIP. So maybe Derek's quite hip. He does look quite snazzy in his jacket, I must admit. Bit jealous. Fu Manchu, obviously just lovely old Karloff there. Prince of Darkness. So the Prince of Darkness is traditional Japanese Hanyu mask and the pendulum from The Pit and the Pendulum, which works for me. The Mad Axeman, he is quite mad because he's green. I like it how he's just pushing that guy down. He is about to chop, but that guy doesn't look like he's doing much of a defensive thing. He's just like, get off. Who always as a kid reminded me of Oddbod from Carry On Screaming. He's got that kind of same haircut. Granite Man, which I don't know, maybe he's an overspill from a superhero set. He was always my least favourite. Headhunter is another one I've seen. He goes all big, and I can't remember what film it's from. I'm sure there's some of you that'll be able to tell me in the comments. Werewolf, again in a snazzy jacket. These Top Trumps guys were always quite well dressed. Checking out his own hands. King Kong. Another copyright infringement there. Deciding not to go for Fay Wray this time, but to grab a rugged and handsome scientist, which is quite progressive for Kong. Cannibal. Not the cannibal, just cannibal. A robot cannibal. It's from the Phantom Creeps, isn't it? Which I do love. And I don't actually have as individual episodes. I've got like a DVD of all the episodes edited together to make a fairly longish film. But yeah, Cannibal, Phantom Creeps, The Incredible Melting Man. There was a film called The Incredible Melting Man and a New English Library novelisation of it, so I think they just robbed that. Venusian Death Cell. So yeah, this is obviously a sea devil from Pertwee era Doctor Who, but this time he's come from Venus and he's cut someone's head off. They were quite blood-soaked, these ones. I do like them. Two-headed monster. It's just a two-headed gorilla, isn't it? I like how one's staring directly at the camera and then one is really eyeing that hand up ready for a bit of a snack. The Thing, which as a youngster I always thought was something from John Carpenter's The Thing, but I don't know. I think it's the beastie from the Angry Red Planet. It's very difficult to tell. I'm sure the chap who's just reaching up to try and grab hold of it could let us know. If he survives long enough. Man-eating plant. Eating a man. Well, squashing his head anyway. I think he's about to eat him. That's from I Married a Monster from Outer Space, isn't it? Man-eating plant. Just a classic executioner in a hood. You can't beat it. I'm not sure why his axe is chained down. Maybe so no one nicks it. And I'm not really sure why he's got an axe and a sword. Maybe he's just really wanting to make sure that that Swede gets severed. Yeah. Skellington. You've always got to have a Skellington. I don't think it's the same one, but this reminds me of the movie poster from The House on Haunted Hill. House on Haunted Hill, the original one. Phantom of the Opera, just a bit of a classic. Phantom of the Opera, but we'll come back to Phantom of the Opera a little bit in a bit. Dracula. Now, I really like this one. This is one of my favourite cards out of all of them. And even though they're rough, and even though the illustrations are strange in their impressionism, you can actually tell that that's meant to be Christopher Lee. So they have nailed it in some respect. Next up is Madman. I think he's probably mad because he's so ginger. I'm not gingerist. I was a bright orange-haired child, and I would have been this mad if I'd have known I was allowed to be. He's one of the dudes from the Doomwatch movie, isn't he? The Ian Bannon Doomwatch film. Ape Man. I recognise him. And I can't help thinking that the film he's from, the title is just like Urg or Grr or... I've seen so many horror movies in my lifetime. They all kind of merge together in my middle-aged, soggy brain. Next up we've got the Gorgon, which is very cool. I like this one because it's almost like a drawing I would have done of a monster when I was about 9 and tried to do scales on it but not bothered, and tried to put too much detail in the snakes so it all merged together so you can't really tell what the heck is going on. Very, very cool. Maggot. Maggot was always one of my favourites when I was a kid because I thought it was just weird. Why are its eyes so offset? Because it's, if you look at it, the mouth's quite straight, but the eyes are all wonky. And what is it? Why? You know, other things like Ape Man and King Kong, we know those. But Maggot is just this random wonky-faced brown thing. Used to creep me out a little bit. Lord of Death, we're back to Phantom of the Opera. Lovely, lovely Lon Chaney. The Zeton Warlord with a very 70s collar. That's a big collar. That's like a Jason King collar. I don't know if he's from anything. He looks like he should be, but I don't recognise him. Gargantua. He's from something, isn't he? Come on, someone in comments tell me who that's from. He's from a B movie that I have seen, but I've seen so many B movies. Yeah. The Freak. Not Joan Ferguson from Prisoner Cell Block H, even though they've got very similar hair. This is obviously based on lovely Jacqueline Pearce from the Hammer movie The Reptile. But that's very cool. But no, not Joan Ferguson. Although I'm sure some people in Wentworth Detention Centre certainly pictured her that way. And last but not least, the best one out of all of them, Godzilla. In a 70s nightclub compare type jacket with a very fetching purple bow. I've never quite understood why they put Godzilla in such a snazzy outfit. And I'm not sure if that pink round his bow, it almost looks like he's got his jacket on but no shirt and the bow, and the Godzilla is a mask, or has he got a pink shirt on that fastens quite tight? Maybe that's why he's so cross, because he's a bit a bit constricted. So that's the first pack. That's the Dracula pack of late 70s, early 80s. I can't find an exact date. Top trumps. My investigations online have proved fruitless as to who the actual artist was. And I'm not even sure if that set got a little bit mixed up with another set, because everything I've looked at, the sets online are a little bit different from that one. However, this will be continued in part 2, as I've managed to track down a reprint set of the second set of Horror Top Trumps, which I'm awaiting for them to arrive, called Devil Priest. I think they're the Devil Priest set. So I shall continue this series looking at classic horror top trumps when they arrive.